My girlfriend talks in her sleep. Last night, she confessed her plans to murder me. We had been together for 4 months, and this was the first time I had slept in the same bed as her. I shouldn't be thinking about proposing yet. I know that. I'm just barely able to control myself any longer. I feel as though I'm losing power over the decisions I make. But after what happened last night, I don't think I have any other choice but to leave her. When our relationship had started, there was one big issue that I saw as a red flag in her. We'd never actually spent a night together. No matter how late she was, once either of us showed signs of being tired, she'd get up and leave. She wouldn't leave awkwardly or in anger, just a casual kiss. Good night, a smile, and a call me soon. It was something I didn't really even notice the first few times she did it. But after almost 8 weeks of dating, it was becoming strange. I'd have to ask her about it. It took drinking almost an entire bottle of wine before I had the courage to do it. She looked almost defeated when I asked, and lowered her eyes in embarrassment. I knew this talk would come eventually, she started. She took in a deep breath with a long, drawn-out exhale. Recently, she paused again, I've started talking in my sleep. She shook her head in embarrassment. It's called somniloquy. I looked it up. I shrugged and laughed out loud. My demeanor seemed to say, that's it? No, Stephen. Listen, she said. She wasn't laughing. It's bad. It's completely out of control. It's not just random words or gibberish. No, it's horrible. I say horrible, disgusting things. She was starting to raise her voice, breath heavy, and tear up. I approached her and held her. I told her it couldn't be that bad. I told her to spend the night. I told her she was probably exaggerating. I was wrong. That night she stayed at my house, but she warned me of something before falling asleep. Whatever you do, don't wake me up. It makes me really scared and disoriented if that happens, and don't respond to me, just ignore it. I nodded and agreed. If it becomes too much, she continued, just leave the room and sleep on the couch. I won't mind. I told her I wouldn't leave to the couch. I'd stay beside her in the bed. But I was wrong. I couldn't even last one night. We both fell asleep without incident. I don't know how many hours passed, but I woke up in the dark with the sensation that someone was watching me. And then I remembered. She was with me. She was actually spending the night. I smiled, but then I noticed the shadowy outline of her sitting up on the bed. She was looking down at me, staring. It creeped me out. I'll admit it. Her posture was entirely different. It was as though it wasn't even her at all. Then she spoke. It wasn't her voice that I heard. It was much lower and gravelly, like something out of a horror movie. I'll chew the skin from your bones, she said. I froze. At first, I just kept looking at her. This was not at all what I expected. I thought it would be more like the way Tourette's is often portrayed. Just random swearing and shouting. I honestly thought to myself, what will I do if she attacks me right now? What if she really does try to chew the skin from my bones? But then she just lied down and went back to sleep. I was creeped out. I tried to lie back down and ignore her, but struggled. I couldn't even close my eyes without thinking maybe she's sitting up again and staring at me. And then one time I rolled over to look at her, and she was. Her face was pressed right towards mine. Her breath was foul and rotted, something that was most certainly not normal for her. She spoke again in the same voice as before. If you don't move to the couch, you'll be dead by morning. That did it for me. I sat up in a moment and headed for the living room. She made some sort of wheezing sound as I left. I think it was supposed to be laughter. I was lying on the couch, but I wasn't going to be able to fall back to sleep. I was far too shaken. I was staring out towards the window, hoping to see the first few hints of the sun rising, and then I thought I heard something from the bedroom. I listened, and then I heard it again. Stephen. It was that same low and gravelly voice. It sounded like a witch. I tried to just ignore it at first, but then it continued. Stephen. Still I said nothing. I know you can hear me, Stephen. You're awake now. Why don't you come back into the bedroom? The voice barely sounded human. Or maybe you'd prefer if I come to you. I still didn't say anything. I was told not to, but I listened. If I heard her start walking towards the bedroom door, I'm not even joking, I would have run right out of the apartment. But she had asked me not to respond to her sleep talking, so I didn't. And then I heard her once more. Sorry if this spoils your plans. She began laughing. The two of you were supposed to walk that trail again. She started. I wasn't even remotely prepared for what she'd say next. You'd both be so tired when you'd reach the top. You'd look over the city, then you'll get on one knee and bring out the ring. She began laughing. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a problem with sleep talking. It was something much more, something supernatural. I had never told anybody about my proposal fantasy. There was simply no way she could have known about any of it. This was no longer about merely talking in one's sleep. This was about possession. I can't go back into the bedroom. I have no idea what would happen if I did. Instead, I'm going to wait it out, holding up in my living room until the sun rises. I have a couple more hours yet. I can hear her laughing occasionally in the bedroom. It's still not her voice, still that same low-pitched cackle. But as I sit on my couch writing this out, Here's what scares me the most. Maybe my infatuation and utter obsession with her wasn't normal. I said before that I felt like I was losing control of myself. More so, I believe, than the typical falling in love story. No, I fear that the infatuation I felt was the entity slowly taking control of me, of it controlling my thoughts, fears, ambitions, and anxieties. Maybe once I become completely absorbed, a transfer would occur, and she would be free of it. I know I should leave, that I should open the front door, get in my car, and drive away from here. But I can't. I can't leave her. I've already lost control. As the sun finally started to rise, I found the strength to push myself off the couch. My mind raced with fear and worry. I'd been up all night listening to her deranged laughter from the bedroom. There was no denying it now. This was something more than simple sleep talking. As the morning light filtered in, it illuminated her silhouette in the bedroom doorway. Her posture was the same as it had been in the middle of the night, eerily out of place, like she was someone or something else. My heart pounded in my chest as she approached me slowly, the gravelly voice that had kept me awake all night now eerily silent. "Stephen," she finally said, her voice back to normal. She looked at me with confusion and concern. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I stammered, tried to explain what had happened, but the words stuck in my throat. Her confusion turned into a look of fear, but it wasn't just fear, it was recognition. "Stephen," she whispered, taking a step back. Her eyes were filled with terror, but not at me. She was staring at something behind me. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Slowly, I turned around. The sight that met my eyes was even more horrifying than anything I could have imagined. It was my reflection in the window, but it wasn't just me I was seeing. Behind my reflection, another figure overlapped, shadowy and ethereal. Its eyes glowed with a menacing red, a smile of pure malice etched on its face. Its hand reached out from the reflection, resting on my shoulder in the real world. I spun around, but there was nothing there. The room was empty except for the two of us, but when I looked back at my girlfriend, I saw real fear in her eyes. And then she spoke, in that gravelly, horrifying voice. "So you've finally seen it, Stephen, the thing that's been pulling your strings." And with that, the entity in my reflection started to laugh, its bone-chilling cackle echoing around the room. It was the last sound I heard before everything went black. As my consciousness slipped away, I realized the terrifying truth. I was not the observer, but the host. The entity hadn't been possessing my girlfriend. It had been in me all along, and my obsessive love for her was not mine, but the entity's trap. I'm infatuated with myself. Utterly infatuated.